So something is back on the bench. Recently posted a video on the Heathkit AD-1307, got a power cord and fixed up, got it working. In the comments below that video, there was some pretty good feedback that said, you did something wrong. Well, I kind of did. So this is going to be I need to fix that and also lead to a statement that I think heard from my father on an occasion. You don't know what you don't know until you know you don't know it. And I didn't know something, and now I wanted to now know it. I thought, going to be a lot of other people out there that don't know it. So I often tell my students that sometimes you learn more by goofing up and fixing it than you do by knowing it already. And it also led to a whole can of worms. I went, wait a minute, let me go figure this stuff out, because I have a lot of stuff that has this issue that I didn't know was necessarily an issue. And then you go investigate out there on, the University of YouTube and Audio Karma, look at all the information that you can find. You talk to some key friends of yours or people that fix stuff up and get conflicting information. So below this video, I'm going to link a whole bunch of other things so you can do your own deep dive into this. So I guess this is I need to fix something, and it's also led to a whole bunch of questions. Let me get to the whole point. It's about plugs. On vintage gear, older equipment and things, polarized, unpolarized, 2-prong, 3-prong, wide prong, thin prong. Here we go. So let me set the stage here. This is the AD-1307 I worked on that came with no power cord. I'm kind of doing this extemporaneously because I wanted to get correction for the AD-1307 out there to say, hey, yeah, I made a mistake putting on the power cord. So I'm going to remedy that towards the end somewhat. And to get there first, what got me in trouble is plugs, and the fact I was missing one, and I tried to fix this and just kind of said, oh, I know about these, let me just fix it. That was not the brightest. Could have investigated a little bit more. I've actually ordered from Heathkit, because they're still out there, sort of, some manuals, schematics on the AD-1307. Every other piece of Heathkit stuff I have that I didn't have a manual for, because now I know what I don't know. I actually have the Heathkit manual for the equalizer, the AD-1305, which is going to be my control here. Show you what's going on as we learn about plugs. And I just have a 3-prong modern electronics plug over here so that, again, I can set the stage for what I'm about to talk about. Breaking in here just to add in a little bit of info. In North America, have a 120 volt, 60 hertz system with American plugs. So if you're in a different part of the world, this might not apply to you. Typically in our wiring, the black wire is the hot end, the white is the low neutral end, and green is ground. In other countries, color codes are different. Voltages and cycles are different. So be aware of what it is for you. And now we continue. And here's the thing. A lot of vintage equipment comes with a plug that looks like this. Both spades are the same size. It's 2 prongs. It's quote unquote unpolarized, so you can plug it into a socket either this way or rotate it 180 degrees and do it that way, and your electronics work. Okay, so unpolarized cord. Let me take you down the logic I use that now isn't great necessary logic because I didn't know what I didn't know. If it plugs in this way or it plugs in that way, replacing the cord should be easy, right? Just get any old cord you want and unattach it and reattach it, and you're good to go, right? Well, hang on a second. Maybe not. Modern stuff, which this isn't, but this is a modern two-prong cord. We'll notice, as opposed to this one, it has one tine that is wider and one prong that is thinner. So you have a thinner one that matches the unpolarized one, and a thicker which doesn't. So you can't go over there to my power plugs there and plug it in this way or that way. It only has one way to go in. But again, my logic was, hey, it doesn't matter. It can go in this way or that way, so I don't have to pay attention necessarily. I did actually pay attention when I was doing this to try to get this right. I still messed it up, so I still need to fix it. I thought I'd put it in the correct way, but I didn't. Why? Well, this was my only clue, and I misread the clues. When I went to replace the cord here, I misread the clues, and I also forgot that these were kits put together quite often by people like me who don't know what they don't know. Hobbyists. Some of them were built by Heathkit themselves and other things, so you have to follow the directions very carefully. So I didn't do my due diligence. So, what was the clue? Here's where we have to get close. Back to this cord, the non-polarized one. It's non-polarized, right? Or is it? Something I didn't know. It's telling me something on here. This is telling me something. I didn't know this. I never knew this. Did everybody know this? I sure as heck didn't. I'm now going to be checking all my equipment everywhere. Maybe you should too. I don't know. What's the clue? Okay. See if I can't get this zoomed in here and focused. And my glasses, because to see this clue, you have to get really close to the cord. I'll probably take a zoomed in picture here so you know what I'm talking about. There's a smooth end of the cord and a part of the cord that has little ribs, little streaks on this vintage 1973-74 power cord for the kit over here. It's got these little ridges. Let me show you the modern cord. You look at this side of the cord and you think, okay, well, hey, there's the thick end blade that goes into the plug and the thin end, so you can only plug it in one way. Let's flip it over to the other side. Notice this line. This line is the thick blade or the neutral. On a plug, there's a neutral low voltage end and the active hot lead. Now, the hot lead is in the cord, the black wire. And hey, marked white. The neutral is the white wire. Well, let's go back to this one. That top ridged, streaky one is the neutral. And the bottom smooth is the hot active end. This should have a preferred way to plug it in to the wall. Plug it in one way versus the other way, it changes the electrical dynamics of what's happening in here. Same way over here. Modern plugs. Hey, you'll go, hey, there's these two tines are the same size. So there's no clue here, but there's only still one way to plug these in because of the grounding pin. So you can't flip this 180 degrees and plug it into the power strip over there either way. What does that mean? Back to my missed clue or misinterpreted clue. Here was the little bit of cord that was in the AD-1307 that I, again, tried to fix apparently incorrectly. Thank you, comments, making me know what I don't know so I can try to know it. Although once you know something, it leads to more questions, and I got so many. So in the comments, tell me stuff, because I'm learning. Hopefully I'm also educated or edutaining. Don't do what I do. I don't know what I'm doing. If I haven't said that enough, I'm going to keep saying it. On this part of the cord, it's very smooth. On this part of the cord, I didn't see. Now that I know to look for these, there are some ridges. So this is supposed to be the neutral side. This is supposed to be the active side of the internal circuitry of this. I actually tried to do that when I was doing it, but I still messed it up. So I need to fix it. Because I was at least a little bit aware that metal cases of older equipment, especially when you talk about guitar amplifiers and tube amplifiers and antique tube radios that they built in the 40s and 50s. So let's illustrate what can happen here. Is one, I need to learn stuff because I didn't know, and I think there's other people out here that need to know this so they can consider it, especially if they're hobbyists like me, who knows enough apparently to be dangerous. So don't do what I do. Let me say it again. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to figure it out. Help me, help you, help me. And we're going to start with this. It's the assembly manual for the Heathkit AD-1305 equalizer. It's the one I actually have. And when I was working through this, I was referring to here. Got the schematic and everything. It's even got the, came with who purchased it and when for how much. But 1975, and I'm going to turn to a page right now and go here. The solder lug on the rear panel at AG will be used as a ground connection only where you use a 3-wire line cord. 2-wire line cords are more commonly used in the United States, at least in 1975, whereas 3-wire line cords are commonly used in other countries. Clearly, that's not the case anymore. Modern audio equipment, amps, receivers, and so on, this is your plug of choice. IEC standard grounding plug. Let's do some testing. Okay, so here's the deal. I like measurements and visuals. So here is what I think. Again, these are questions that I need answers to. So here we go. Back to this. The plug you can plug in either way. When you don't know, there's actually a clue to say, hey, there is actually a right way to plug this in. Let's just take a shot at it and plug this in. Now there's a 50-50 shot when you're presented with a vintage piece of equipment like this that you might plug it in this way or that way. I've been doing that little maneuver for, I don't know, 50 years of my life, probably more, as soon as I figured out plugs. So here we go. Let's put it in wrong. So again, the ribbed side is supposed to be the neutral plug. The smooth side is supposed to be the hot end. So let's turn it around and plug it in wrong. It's plugged in wrong. I'm going to push this and the power LED light will light up. Here it is. See, nice and glow. This will work just fine. Now let's unplug it, turn it around, and put it in the other way. It'll turn on just fine and work. No problem, right? Now let's investigate the potential issue. Electrical devices have electricity flowing through them, voltages and currents. Voltages and currents can be dangerous. Nobody likes to get zapped. So let's plug it in wrong. Okay, that would be this way. This is wrong. This is the whole issue about polarized plugs and why they're now a thing. Notice LED is off. I'm touching it. Turn it on. I'm touching it. Seems to be working fine, right? And it would. What do I got here? I really hope this isn't all misinformation because I'm really curious. I gotta know now. Please comment and educate me and anybody else because I've seen information all over the place. Here we go. I'm going to try something. I'm grounded over there. I have literally taken a screwdriver and plugged it into the ground of the power plug. It goes into my multimeter here. I'm going to turn it on to voltage AC. And now watch what happens when I come over here and touch the metal with it off. Yeah, 40 volts. 40 volts. Let's touch somewhere else. 40 volts. Let's go to the bottom. Not so much, but there's a nice powder coat on there. Let's go to a screw. 40 volts. Let's go to one of these inputs or outputs. 40 volts. Let's turn it on. 60 volts. 65 volts. 64 volts. Go to a screw. 64 volts. There's voltage on the case. What gives? 40 volts. 60 volts. I'm confused. Let's plug it in the right way. 15 volts. Well, plugged in the right way, it got less. Let's turn it off. 40 volts. I am so confused. And that's plugged in the right way. Let's check a screw. 40 volts. Now let's do another step. Plugged in the correct way with the neutral ribbed thing in neutral and the active in the active. Not in AC. Let's take it another step. 40 volts plugged in the right way. And then we go, hey, what do these modern plugs do? What's this extra thing here? Well, let's make a ground. So let me come up here, ground to there, go over here to my ground on this. Here, we'll do it. We'll do it back. So here's my 42 volts. Watch what happens to that voltage when I ground the case. It goes away. Gone. Now we know what that third prong is for. Take it off. It's back. Let's do it the wrong way. Okay, here we go. And 40 volts. Down to nothing. Okay, here's something else we can test. A lot of vintage equipment comes with these. The plugs in the vintage equipment here aren't one socket thicker, one thinner. So again, you can take a plug like this and plug it in this way or that way. This can't go in there at all. Because again, one is thicker and it just doesn't go in because it's not compatible. But this one can go here, go there. I can use it to go to another piece of equipment, convenience plugs, and conveniently use it as a switch box. So I turn this on, that can come on and start working and so on. What happens to these plugs if I switch these? Okay, let's plug it in correctly. So I come in here, I go in there. Congratulations, there's my 120 volts. So that plug. So this is going to be lower. It is. Turn it around, plug it in the wrong way. 120 volts. It switched. So it flipped here. So now I have to worry about, did I get this cord right? And is this in correctly here? It'll be nice to know when you plug it in right, which is the high and which is the low, which is the active and which is the neutral. And then I have to hope the people who built these did it right. Okay, here's something else we can test. Let's take it a step further because, again, I want to know and educate myself on this because I like this kind of hobby stuff of taking puzzles that don't work and putting them together, extracting more useful years of enjoyment out of them, give them another life, and make them work. I also want to be safe and help others be safe and figure stuff out and make informed choices about what they're doing. I'm going to do this with my hands a lot, apparently. Talk with my hands. How about current? Because I was touching this earlier with voltages. I didn't drop dead, but I'm also being careful to not ground myself anywhere, just because this is an investigation and I want to learn. Help me out here. Not the voltage that kills us, the current. At least that's what I've always been told. Maybe I don't know that anymore. I certainly don't want any current across my chest when I do this. So quite often I try to keep one hand off and one hand on and poke around with plastic stuff. Current. So let's measure some current. Currently, this is unplugged, so currently there's no current. Okay, have it set up, measure current. It's on amps right now. You always start off these things on the highest setting so you don't blow a fuse and then go down. So same as before, I'm going to see by plugging this in if there's any current from the metal case through the meter to ground, because that's what'll get you. Here we go. I don't know if this is going to be helpful or really irritating, but my curiosity is killing me. Hopefully it's not really literally killing me. Let's plug it in the wrong way, means this way. Am I being alarmist or stupid? I don't know. That's why I need answers. I'm still grounded over there. I am now attached to here and nothing. Nothing. Okay, no current. No, wait. That's on amps. Let's go down to milliamps and see if there's milliamps. Only takes a few milliamps to really hurt. Nothing. Let's go to microamps. Oh, interesting. Microamps. 9.8 microamps. Let's see if we can do the grounding thing again. Let's go over here to, so if case is conducting that little bit of teeny bitty current plugged in the correct way, by grounding the case, that should go away. So again, let's ground the case. And yep, it goes away. Okay, take it away. It comes right on back. Let's flip it. Now that I know the scale here, let's go back to milliamps AC. Again, we're trying to see if any AC is leaking into this. And flip to the incorrect orientation. It's a little more, just a little more. And then ground it again, and it goes away. So now we definitely know what that plug is for on modern stuff. So it brings me back to the question of, what do I do with vintage stuff? What I just demonstrated with this, I could repeat over here, except I can't with this plug, because the orientation of this plug is fixed. Can't sit there and flip it. But what I could flip, and what I think what I did wrong on the inside, because again, didn't know what I didn't know, and now I know I didn't know it. I'm pretty sure I connected my neutral and active into the plug incorrectly in here. Let me show you a schematic. Yikes. Okay, here's a schematic of the AD-1307 that I was able to locate through sources. Thank you, sources. And here is the power cord circuitry part of the schematic that goes the transformer through the power block to all the electronics and everything. Here's the important part. Okay, again, on this is what a plug you can plug in either way. But what you need to do is you need to make sure the thin, hot, active is connected through the top of the receptacles, through the power switch, and fuse. If you keep the two-prong polarized plug, if you're going to have the polarized plug,
Need to make sure the lower part is the wide part of the plug and the top is the thinner part of the plug. And this would be the smooth part of the wire, and down here would be the ribbed part of the wire. Especially important when the switch only switches that part of the circuit. And now I think it gets more complicated.
Now here is the schematic, the equalizer that we've been playing around with. Here again is the plug. Plug it in either way. The fuse is up here, but there's a switch on both branches. The same switch is on both branches of this. So here's the part where I'm kind of unclear. Okay, all you electronics gurus out there who have more experience with schematics than I do, and you can read these things better. Is this a double pole switch? The other one was a single pole? Because this looks like it breaks both parts of the branches. So there's another complication. But it would still probably be better, since the fuse is up here, make sure that this is the hot part of the connection, so the small blade, and this is the lower end, they're neutral for the thick blade if you're going to replace it with a polarized cord, so you plug it in right. Again, this should definitely tell you I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I've been playing around with this material for a long time, and I didn't know what I didn't know. So here again is the part where I go, I don't know. Help me out here. Gotten on all kinds of places out there in the interwebs. Got to be careful with information out there because you might have goobers like me trying to tell you stuff. But I have seen people I have a great deal of respect for saying, just put the two-prong plug on there, no worries. Make sure that you've got the active and neutral thing. You're good to go. If they were designed that way, they're perfectly safe that way, yada, yada, yada. And then I have seen electrical engineers going, oh my God, don't change it out. Put the three-prong plug on there and ground the case and do everything just like the little manual here said you could do. But that could cause ground loop problems and alter the value of your equipment. There's guitar amp people out there say you gotta change it. There's guitar amp people out there say no, we're not gonna change it. I need guidance. I keep thinking of all the vintage gear I have. Sansui receivers, 8-track tape players, cassette players, all metal cases everywhere. I have some vintage power tools with unpolarized plugs that I'm probably not going to be using in the rain anytime soon. I have a 1930s all metal everywhere fan sitting behind me. So, as I was saying here, I need guidance. Thinking more of this as a, hey, here's some neat stuff to look at. Watch me do it. Do a conversation of I need education. I need some educated advice from technical people out there because I like this hobby. I like fixing things. I also like to be safe, and so I'm going to leave it here and hope that people chime in. I'm sure they will, hopefully nicely. Help me out here. I'm just trying to figure this out. Let me know if you've made it this far and haven't immediately unsubscribed. Leave a comment, or if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And help me out here. This is kind of an interesting hobby, and other people do it, but I want it to be safe and properly informed and safe. So that being said, don't do what I do. Also going to link all kinds of discussions and videos where we'll place some power cords and talk about this issue. See you next time. Oh,